Sup nerds, I'm Tom.
I'm Wes.
We're Neverboard Gaming, and we're taking a look at the prototype for White Wizard's newest game, Sorcerer. That's actually on Kickstarter right now.
Right now. It's on there. It's already past its funding goal, but we really want to get all those stretch goals, get the super awesome stuff. And the game's just amazing, so we want to make sure you know about it.
So to try to describe Sorcerer, it's kind of like Magic the Gathering, but like with dice. You don't deck build beforehand. You have like three different, third decks.
Yeah, so you're not deck building. You have three different options. You have your character, your location, and your lineage, like kind of what family you belong to. And you pick those three and smash those three together.
Yeah. So you have like 65 different deck combinations is the way the math works out there.
And more with stretch goals and booster packs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That aspect reminded me a lot of, and you actually said it too, the Call of Cthulhu LCG.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have the decks that you smash together, and honestly, you have the three locations that you're vying over.
That's true. Well, okay, so the Call of Cthulhu LCG, it's an LCG, so you can build your deck beforehand, but out of the base game box, which is all we've ever played of that, you just take two cards and smash two, half decks and smash them together. But yeah, the fighting over the three bases in the middle is definitely the biggest callback to that, because it's like, obviously you want to win 2 out of the 3, so you want us to, we're not just going to be battling at this one and then we'll battle at this one and then we'll battle at that one, because like we're having a battle here and then, okay, well, I'm going to put a guy over here where you don't have any guys. So I'm just going to go ahead and just start, fighting that one
uncontested over here fighting. And you have to choose, like, okay, well, he has a guy over there, so he's battling uncontested. I could go put something out there so we're all kind of fighting over all three, or I could beat up this one super heavy, take it, let him piddle over there a little bit and get some points. But if I take these two, who cares if he gets that one? Right,
and you do get to this point where you're like, you kind of like give up on one. You're like, yeah, he's definitely going to win this one, so it's better for me to start focusing over here. Like, and that's so interesting. That is something that I don't really see anywhere else in other games, well, except for Call of Cthulhu. And I think the Warhammer Conquest was that. I've never played it, but someone told me that was similar. So maybe I'm wrong about that. But that aspect of just like, I want this, no, it's better for me to just give up on that and come over here. That is tons of fun.
And there are cards in a couple different decks that I've played out of this that like wipe the playing field. Like there's one that you put into the battlefield exhausted, get all the other cards off of it, and that one is just exhausted. You can't resolve it this round. So if you do have, like, if Tom is, like, spending so much time beefing it up, and he has the arthropods. So he's, like, adding cards to it to make these, like, huge, massive fatties in that base, and I'm kind of, like, neglecting it, and then last turn, boom, wipe everything off of it, and basically negate his entire turn.
Just hit me? Now, I did say it's kind of like Magic the Gathering, but really the better game to compare it to would be White Wizard's own Epic card game, because Epic kind of took a Magic the Gathering style game and made everything really epic. Like, you start with 30 life, but I'm going to put this guy down there that does 20 life every turn, like everything is real swingy and real big game. It's like, I'm going to play a game changer. Now I'm going to play a game changer. Now I'm going to play a game changer. There isn't that much ramp up, and there aren't a lot of cards that you play, and you're like, this card kind of does nothing for me right now. I mean, there's still a little bit of that, but a lot of the epic feel is put into here where, again, like you said, there's just board wipe and huge game changers, and like this card is just going to swing in and do what it needs to do, which makes the game a little bit faster, depending on your playstyle, or a little bit longer if you keep getting rid of my guys, and then bring more guys in, and then get rid of my guys. So, I mean, it brings it to an average playtime of about an hour. After about 3 different times of playing just the 2-player, it was about an hour. We actually also got the chance to play
the 3-player Battle Royale.
We'll
talk about that in a little bit, though.
Yeah, but that one was definitely longer than an hour.
As far as the cards go, the other thing that has a little bit different than Magic is you don't have any cards that just don't have abilities. Like, every single card you play does something. It may be kind of worthless, or, I'm going to play it here, it's not going to be effective, but I need something. But every card has an ability that it does, so that you're not like, oh, well, this guy, he's cheap, but he's just like a 1/1, rat or whatever like that.
Right, yeah, every card has text on it.
But it did remind me a lot of Magic. It's, you have your attack and your defense. It's like, oh, this is a 3/2 with this ability, or
but it's not just another game where you started a certain amount of life, I started a certain amount of life, we're trying to bring each other down to 0. There are, the bases in the middle is the main goal, so kind of like, well, I guess No, that I was about to say Star Wars Destiny, but that is you're trying to kill the dudes.
And I think that the complexity is really easy to compare to Magic too. Like there's maybe a little bit more strategy because there's the 3 different playing fields and you have 3 different player abilities depending on your character lineage and location. But like just the playing it and like gaining mana or magic or whatever that track is called. Energy to like spend those to cast cards out. Like it has that if you're used to playing Magic or an LCG or any of those card games, this won't take long at all for you to get the hang of.
No, it looks really complex. And I remember when I was watching the playthrough with Rob Dowdry and Darwin Castle, I was like, oh man, there's so much going on there. But really, there's not. Like, it's about as easy to learn as regular Magic is.
Yeah.
Like, it's not Ticket to Ride, but you just have every single card has so many options. You're like, oh, well, this does this, and this does that, and that does this, and I have these 3, and I can play it here, or I can play it there. So it's one of those, I know you've heard this term a lot, but like, easy to learn, hard to master, or it's a simple game with very deep strategy. But, I mean, it is. And probably the biggest difference between this and Magic and other games. And I compared it to Ashes, which I know isn't accurate just because it has dice.
Any game with cards and dice, Tom's like, it's a lot like Ashes, just because there are dice and there's cards.
But with the exception of Ashes and Destiny, there aren't a lot of games that I can think of off the top of my head that are a very dueling card and dice game.
I'm sure they're going to list
they're going to list a whole bunch. But, like, okay, that's why I said off the top of my head. Like
Bushido?
Bushido, right? Like, even Dice Masters isn't done in the same way. You don't have a deck.
Yeah.
You just have dice. But I like how you roll for your combat. So this guy's a 5/4, so he doesn't just attack 5 damage. He rolls 5 dice. But I like how there's no defense rolls. It's not my roll versus your roll. It's my roll, and you decide where the damage goes, or you decide if I'm going to reroll.
Yeah, the defense is the fact that you can get the Omen tokens where I can, like, my Omen tokens, if he's rolling against me, I can spend one to choose one of his dice to make him re-roll it, and then he has Omen tokens, and he can choose his dice to re-roll it. And I like that it's just kind of a back and forth. There's not like a, do you want to roll? Okay, you're done. Do you want to re-roll? Okay, like, it's just like, do you want it? All right, I'm going to make you. All right, now you're going to make me now. Like, I think that really helps the flow of the game, and there's no like, oh, if I knew you were going to do that, I wouldn't have done this.
It can get to a point where you're just like, you have a bunch of Omen tokens, I have a bunch of Omen tokens, this is like the last, it's just going to be a re-roll battle.
Who has the most tokens?
Yeah, in our playthrough video where we did it live recently, we even had that where it's just like one die, it was like re-roll, which I guess can get a little annoying, but it's kind of that like goofy. It adds some goofiness to the gameplay, which I guess is a good segue into the fact that this game is not goofy or silly at all.
I was like comparing it to Magic and some of these other games that you may play with your kids. I know a lot of 8-year-olds that play Magic, and they may play a simplified version or anything like that. But would you play this game with a young kid?
Like, okay, I don't want to say this is adult themed by any means. Like, there's nothing like, again, 18 and up. There's nothing super sexual or like.
Really super violent. There's
it's
allusions
kind of
to violence.
Yeah, but it's definitely a dark game. Like, I'm assuming you have been able to see that through the Kickstarter with all the artwork and everything. I mean, even you look at the playmat, has that, what's that called, the pentagram or whatever, right? Like, so it should be obvious, but I still feel like it's worth saying that. I mean, it's probably still appropriate for the age. I'm assuming this is like
14
a 14 and up, something like that. But again, I feel like it still should let you know that there's nothing goofy or silly at all about this artwork. This is serious, dark, sorcery, evilish.
If you're sensitive to that, keep in mind there's like the necromancy and demonologist and the blood dude.
Yeah, the vampire. The vampire guy is called the Blood Lord. So they're not shying away from it,
Yeah, so I don't want to discourage you from backing it, but just make sure that you take a look at that if that's something that concerns you.
Also, we did say that there are a lot of deck combinations, right? There's like 65 is technically the way that the math works out, but really there's 4 different decks per level, and you have to pick one from each level. So like the Blood Lord, it's picking 1 out of 4s to get the Blood Lord abilities. Now, they do combo differently with those other parts of the deck, which is true, but that 1 out of the 4 decks that you're going to be playing with or against is going to have the blood track where you're going to be collecting blood and spending that as a resource for other things. So I would say that I behoove you to definitely back it at I think it's the Sorcerer level, the second level, where you get 2 more decks per level, because I would think that would definitely blow it up. This is a game where, kind of like Star Realms, when you got the base game, you're like, ooh, Star Realms, it's this tiny little box. I can just keep it in my glove compartment. But now it's like a box this big, because you're like, every single new thing that they add, you were like, yeah, I think I need that. And you play with it, you're like, yeah, I need that.
Yeah, and knowing White Wizard, you're going to see a lot more expansion. This is an easily expandable game, so we're going to be seeing a lot more expansions for it in the future.
And you want that.
Yeah, absolutely. And my comment on that, too, is I actually really love the way that the deck building works in this game, because as like I have a 1-year-old at home, so I don't have a lot of time to sit at home and just really think out, does this card deserve to be in my deck? Yeah. Does this? No. Between these two, which, like, I don't have time to deck build and spend hours building a perfect deck at home. So this game is perfect because all the deck building happens once you open the box. You open the box and say, all right, pick yours, I'll pick mine, let's smash them together and let's go, which makes time not playing the game and like building your game just goes away. So you have more time to play the game.
And that makes it easier for new players.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Because like with things like Magic or Netrunner or any of that stuff, it's like, what do I do? Do I explain it to you enough so that you can make your own deck? Or do I just hand you a deck that I made and we'll play and I'll teach you how to learn that way, but obviously I'll know everything that's in that deck so I can counteract against it. And here, and I mean, I guess you could have a slight advantage because you kind of sort of know those cards better than they do, but it's still not, you specifically built that deck to be that way and I'm going to hand it to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So because we're making this video, obviously we're going to recommend that you back this game on Kickstarter. But just to be real with you for a second, this game kind of like blew my mind when I played it. Like, Tom told me, hey, it's really great, I really love it, you got to check it out, because he played it before I did. And then I sat down and played it, like, even without going into it, at the end of it, I'm like, oh man, this is awesome, I need to have this game. So I really do. It's great, it's White Wizard, their games are good. So I just definitely check out this game on Kickstarter. And they have the 3-player battle royale, we mentioned that earlier. Takes a little bit longer.
It's available in the base game.
Okay, yeah. So, perfect. And they're stretch goaling a 4-player battle royale.
A 4th player. Because you can still play it 4 players out of the base game, but it's just a 2v2 team battle.
Yeah.
But the way we did the battle royale was there were players in between. The battlefields were in between each of us.
Yeah.
And instead of
so you each have access to 2 battlefields that you're vying over.
Right. So and you don't have that. You kind of do. You're like, should I battle here or battle here? But it's not that 3-way like, oh, this one's open, I'm going to come over here. Your decisions are constrained a little bit, but the fact that you're dealing with 2 different decks and 2 different like crazy abilities. Again, like it was I had to deal with the vampire bloodlord dude over here, and then you could bring stuff back from the dead, and I was like, oh, but I don't want to kill that guy because you'll bring him back, but I have to kill this guy because of like it really. That's why it ramped the time up a lot, because there was just a lot more to think about as we were going through it.
And once you took one of the battlefields and won it, it didn't just like flip over and you don't do that anymore. It just like resets and go again. So you could, like, if my deck doesn't play well against Tom, but it does play really well against Aaron, I could theoretically get 3 victories against Aaron and just kind of defend against Tom and win that way. So it really opens up the options for the game, and it also really like condenses things down. There's a whole other group of creatures in the battlefield. You're only vying over 2. So there is no uncontested battlefields unless you can play a card that just like wipes everything out right before combat.
And the last thing I want to say about the Battle Royale format is it's the first person to get to 6 points, which each battlefield you win is 2 points. And Rob even said, oh, a lot of people are asking, well, why'd you do that? Well, it's open design space for in the future, possibly they could have cards that will give you like missions or objectives such that you can gain 1 victory point. So it's not so much that you have to win 3 battlefields. It could be win 2 battlefields and complete 2 of these other objectives or whatnot. It's just open design space for potential future expansions.
Awesome.
I really can't emphasize enough how much I believe you need to back Sorcerer. Obviously, we're backers. This is probably going to be on that list of the very, very short list of games where all 3 of us own it. Like, Aaron hasn't played it yet.
I know I want it. I know you want it.
Right.
So Aaron probably wants it too.
And there are all the add-ons for the like Star Realms and Hero Realms stuff that were like Kickstarter exclusives before that you can actually get on there, which, not going to lie, I'm definitely going to capitalize on. Sorcerer is definitely my most anticipated game of 2018.
Really? Nice. And if any of that sounded good to you, or if it didn't, either way, definitely back this game on Kickstarter. If you're on Kickstarter, back button's right there. You've probably already clicked it. If you're on YouTube, we will have a link in the description box to the Kickstarter page or a card popping up that you can click on as well.
Yep. And either way, subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored. So you'll never be bored.
I was doing magic.